So for today's Lent devotional, we're going over Matthew 7, verses 13 through 14, which reads, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate, and narrow is the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." So right now, Jesus is giving the Sermon of the Mount, and I think these verses are really nice because it shows where our hearts are versus where our minds are. And so in these two verses, Jesus is saying that there are two different paths we can follow, the wide gate and the narrow gate. And in this wide gate, it's the one that's most easily seen because it is a very large gate, and many people are following this path because it is a smooth path, so it's an easy path to take. And people who are in this path are following the ways of this world, and this path will lead to destruction. So something to think about is when we're reading the Bible, are we reading it just to read it or just to get something checked off our to-do list for the day? Or are we reading it to comprehend? And in the same way, are we singing songs just to sing, or are we singing them to praise God? So another thing to think about is I feel like we expect so much for doing so little sometimes. God made the ultimate sacrifice for us. So what are we doing in return? How can we put more effort into spending more time with Him? An example I can think of is, let's say you took a test and you think you studied pretty well for this test, and you get the grade back and you didn't do so great. So you go over the test and you realize, I could have studied this topic more, this chapter more, and you think, maybe I actually didn't put enough effort into studying this material as I thought I did. And that can be applied biblically as well. So next is the narrow gate. You have to have a lot of perseverance when going through this gate because you will face trials and tribulations in your life, but it's easy to doubt God, that He's not there for you. Where is God when you go month after month facing so many problems and you think, where's God throughout this way? But remember, God is always there for you. There is a plan for you as well, and that He will guide you, and through all the storms you're facing, He'll be that light for you as well. A verse I wanted to pull from is Proverbs 3, verses 5 through 6, that says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight." So the main part I wanted to pull from that is, if you acknowledge Him, He will make your path straight. Because when we acknowledge Him, put our trust in Him, those rough paths will start to straighten out for us, and it'll be a much better path for us to walk on. So just remembering that Jesus is there holding our hand for us throughout the entire way. He will never leave us alone. Remembering that He's the rock and our firm foundation in our lives. And also knowing that if you choose this rough path, it'll lead and be fruitful in the end for us. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel, as people would say. Something I wanted to end off with was a question. So are the people around you progressing your faith, or making you more stagnant, complacent, or even making you regress? In the same way, how are you affecting others' lives? I think it's important to remember that just as others are affecting your life, you're equally affecting others' lives. So remembering, how can I help my friend out with their faith or a struggle they're going through? Especially during this Lent season, remembering to, kind of gauge how much effort you're putting into spending time with God. I know a lot of us gave up, candy or soda, things like that, but also remembering that this is a time to spend more time with God as well. I hope you all have a blessed day and a great Lent.